What's up, you beautiful classmates? Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday. Welcome back to the show. I've got to say, I'm pretty fired up about today's story. We're diving into a mess that's been brewing in the airline industry, and it's a doozy. Alright, let's set the stage. Qatar Airways, you know, that airline that's always bragging about how fancy their planes are? Yeah, them. They've been killing it in the industry, growing faster than a teenager in a growth spurt. We're talking a fleet of 160 aircraft, flying to 147 destinations across 6 continents. Pretty impressive, right? But here's where it gets interesting. These folks have about 9,000 cabin crew members, and get this, over 80% of them are women. In 2014, some brave whistleblowers and international labor organizations decided to spill the tea, and oh boy, was it scalding. They revealed some seriously messed up clauses in Qatar Airways employment contracts for female cabin crew. First up, women needed the airline's permission to get married. Yeah, you heard that right. Want to tie the knot? Better ask your boss first. But wait, it gets worse. Female crew were forbidden from getting pregnant in their first 5 years of employment. If they did, boom, fired. Now, as you can imagine, when this news hit, people lost their minds. The International Labor Organization came out swinging, calling these practices a violation of basic labor rights. Major news outlets like BBC and Reuters were all over this story like white on rice. It was everywhere. You couldn't escape it if you tried. And then we started hearing from the employees themselves. Former Qatar Airways staff started sharing their experiences anonymously, calling the policies inhumane and humiliating. So, Qatar Airways is feeling the heat. They're getting dragged harder than a bad meme on Twitter. In 2015, they finally decide to do something about it. They announced some changes to their policies.
We value our workforce and are committed to aligning with global standards.
But let's be real, it was too little, too late. It's like apologizing for eating someone's lunch after you've already digested it. Now, I'm no expert in running an airline, but I've got some thoughts on how Qatar Airways could have handled this better. And let's talk about support programs, maternity benefits, flexible schedules, childcare facilities, you know, things that actually help working women. Oh, and here's a wild concept. How about some training for leadership on diversity and inclusion? Because clearly someone missed that day at CEO school. In 2015, women made up only 3% of airline CEOs globally and about 5% of commercial pilots. It's like the industry was stuck in the 1950s or something. You half expect to see Don Draper walking down the aisle handing out cigarettes. But here's the silver lining, if you can call it that. This crisis forced people to start talking about gender equity in aviation.
Of course, it has to be led by a man because it is a very challenging position.
You'd think after all this, Qatar Airways would have learned their lesson, right? Well, hold on to your seatbelts, folks. I mean, come on, dude, it's 2018, not 1918. You'd think after all the backlash, he'd have learned to, I don't know, think before he speaks. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion, except the train is made of outdated ideas and the track is common sense. And just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, in April 2024, we've got this whole legal situation. The Federal Court of Australia dismissed a lawsuit against Qatar Airways about some pretty invasive searches on female passengers at Doha's airport. Now, this wasn't directly about airline employees, but come on, it's not a great look when you're already under fire for how you treat women. It's like, hey, we've stopped being awful to our female employees, but random women at the airport? Fair game? So, where do we go from here? Look, Qatar Airways has made some changes, and that's good. But this whole saga is a reminder that we've got a long way to go. It's not just about changing a few rules, it's about changing the whole damn culture. We need more women in leadership roles. We need policies that actually support working women. And for the love of all that is holy, we need CEOs who don't sound like they just stepped out of a 1950s boardroom. It's 2024, people. It's time to wake up and smell the equality. We've got planes that can fly themselves, but we can't figure out how to treat women fairly. Come on, we can do better. We have to do better. And that's where I'm going to end today's video. This story is far from over, and you can bet your ass I'll be keeping an eye on it. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think about this whole situation? Do you think Qatar Airways has done enough? Or do they need to, I don't know, catapult themselves into the 21st century? Let me know in those comments down below. As always, thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you're new here, maybe check out some of our other videos, and I'll see you beautiful classmates tomorrow.